Last night on MasterChef Australia,
This is not going to be a walk in the park.
the top 10 amateurs tried to outcook award-winning chef Mitchell Orr.
If I was you, I'd be worried.
And while Peter and Courtney impressed, neither could beat the pro.
Wow, how life can change in a couple of days.
Tonight, two teams face the might of the Country Women's Association.
This challenge is about both teams cooking the same dishes.
The pressure is on to recreate 5 classic recipes
Turning out 100 lamingtons is not an easy task.
as they prepare afternoon tea for 100 of the country's best cooks.
What could possibly go wrong?
And the least impressive will face elimination.
I'm hard-pressed to find something good to say about it.
This is the worst team challenge I've ever done.
Today, we all cooked against a celebrity chef. We've been told by the judges that when we get back to the house, there's a surprise for us.
Why don't I do the honours on this one? Dear contestants, tomorrow will be your next team challenge. Peter and Courtney, although you've only just rejoined the MasterChef competition, your dishes were amongst the top 3 in today's Celebrity Chef Challenge. Therefore, it is only fitting that you both take the roles of team captains. One by one, you will take turns choosing your team members. Courtney, you will lead the red team, and Peter will lead the blue.
I've seen in the past team captains often can come in and, you know, you make a few stuff-ups, and as quick as I'm back in this competition, I could be back out on my bum again.
You will then meet us at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning at Belgeny Farm in Camden. Prepare yourselves for a challenge of grand tradition.
All sorts of thoughts are going through our head. Traditional Australian, what could it be? Got no idea. Ladies first.
My first pick is Marion. Pete lets me have the first choice, which is good because I actually was wanting to get Marion on my team.
My first pick is Adam.
Second choice in no particular order is Alvin.
My second choice is Claire. Thank you.
Jonathan.
Aaron. Surprise, mate.
Yeah, I was a bit shocked when Peter picked me. He's never picked me for a team before. I'm happily surprised.
Callum, we need a bit of youth in the team, so come and join the red team.
Jimmy, join the blue team. Let's get out of here, guys.
Go, let's get some rest.
Waking up this morning, I've got a lot of nervous anticipation, but I'm so pumped I'm team captain. I'm wrapped with my team, and I can't wait to see what we have to do today.
I can't believe only a few hours ago we were smack bang in the city, and now we're out in the countryside. There's rolling green hills and everything's really quiet. And there are the judges waiting for us.
I don't really know what this place is all about. I'm looking around for grand tradition. I'm not seeing any big mansions. There's going to be a real challenge ahead, no doubt.
Welcome to Belgeny Farm and the site of your next team challenge. You'll be catering an event for some of the best cooks in Australia. Their cookbook has been published since 1937. You'll be cooking for 100 members of the Country Women's Association, more affectionately known as the CWA. That's awesome.
The Country Women's Association is famous for things like jams, cakes, fruit cakes, scones. Everyone knows that the CWA ladies make the best of all those things.
This is the way it will work. Both teams will be given 5 standard CWA recipes. A scone recipe, a Neapolitan cake, a jam, a lamington, and a fruit cake recipe.
My nan was in the CWA, and I know these ladies can be very technical and can be very fussy on rack marks and heights of cakes and fluffiness of sponges and a lot of things that we don't have a lot of experience with.
In your teams, you will have to take personal responsibility of one of those 5 dishes. You must prepare your dishes perfectly and make enough for 100 people.
We've got to get food on those tables because those 100 ladies without their tea and cakes are going to be very angry.
The 3 of us will be tasting your dishes and deciding which team has performed the best.
So we have to impress the 100 ladies of the CWA, but at the end of the day, it's the judges who will decide our fate.
Now, we won't be judging your efforts alone. We're drafting in an expert to help us. This person has been a CWA member for 22 years, 14 of which she's been judging the land cookery contest at branch, group and state level. Please welcome Alison Mutton. Hello, Alison. How are you?
She really knows her stuff. She's going to know exactly to the centimetre how high a cake should be, exactly what kind of texture a jam should be. I think she's going to be really tough.
Alison, welcome to MasterChef. Now, these recipes are treasured. They've been passed down for generations, and now our 10 amateur cooks have got to reproduce 5 of the very best.
That's right, and they're going to be judged by people who have been doing this for a very, very long time. Some of them have been cooking these recipes for over 70 years.
Today is a culinary face-off where both teams will be judged head-to-head. Win, and we'll whisk you to Sydney, where Tony Bilson will open Bilson's just for you. And he'll cook you a degustation lunch. The 2 members of the losing team who produce the 2 least impressive dishes will find themselves in elimination, and one of you will go home.
This really is back to basic cooking for us, and I'm thinking a lot of us were wishing that we had trialled some basic cooking out before we came here.
Blue team, red team, at your cook stations you'll find the 5 recipes and a fully stocked pantry. It's Lamington versus Lamington. It's scone versus scone. In 2.5 hours, the 100 ladies from the CWA will descend. Your time starts now.
Callum, do you have anything in particular?
Well, I just picked up the Lamington recipe. I'd be pretty happy to do that.
Courtney asks what each of us would like to do. Everyone's putting their hands up for things.
I'm happy to do the jam.
Jam?
Yeah.
I've never made most of the things that we need to be cooking today, so I'm really feeling out of my depth.
Who's made scones before?
I have, a long time ago, but I'm comfortable with them. OK, it's a deal, it's a deal.
And I guess I've got the fruitcake?
Yeah, you do fruitcake. I'll do the Neapolitan.
I am comfortable with the dishes we've allocated to each other. I mean, we've got a recipe, we've got the ingredients, and we've got a cooktop. What could possibly go wrong?
This is the CWA. This is about home cooking.
Totally.
Let's just cook well and win this challenge.
Do it. Let's do it, team.
Time starts. I'm on the Neapolitan cake. Our most experienced cook is going to be doing the fruit cake. Adam is going to be on Lamingtons. Jimmy, with his knowledge of sugars and how they work, is going to be on the jam. And Aaron, who is not comfortable with any of these baking things, is on the scones. Hopefully, one of the more easier recipes today.
My dish is scones. You've got to be really careful not to overwork the scones, otherwise they'll end up really tough and won't rise. Each batch will make 20 scones, so I'm aiming to get 6 batches of scones made.
This is my first time making scones. I've had my problems in the past with this kind of stuff, but you know what? I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it right today.
Ah, smell that fresh air. You're half an hour down, and you've got 2 hours before those CWA ladies arrive and taste your food.
Come on.
I'm making the lamingtons today. I've never made lamingtons before, but I've made a few sponges in my time. My first cake comes out in 2 minutes, so that's going to be the time when we're going to know if this is working or not.
Unfortunately, I've never made lamingtons before. This is my first time.
I'm kind of embarrassed that I've never baked a cake before because really this kind of a challenge exposes the gaps that we have in our knowledge here, being amateur cooks.
I'm going to do one batch, see how it goes, and then hopefully I have the presence of mind to change it if it goes wrong, or if it works out perfectly, I'll just do that 6 more times.
Callum, have you got that first one out of the oven?
Yeah, this is the first one here. It's not very high, is it?
I think you need to get more air in your mixture. Callum seems to be struggling with his lamington mixture.
The cake batter is like really, really thick.
I've got some scones done, but I'm not 100% happy with them. First batch looks crap. This has brought a whole new respect for these women and their cooking. Their so-called simple recipes that we were given at the beginning of the challenge, I've realised they're not so simple.
The challenge for the teams today are to cook 5 identical dishes. We'll be serving them to 100 CWA members who are coming for afternoon tea.
I'm rapid. Everyone's having a crack at things. I've got cake batter up to my armpits. It's a tough challenge, no doubt about it, but we're on track.
To make the Neapolitan cake, in the cake tin, once I've got the 2 separate batters finished, a layer of white, a few dollops of jam, and then the pink layer on top, which is going to create the 2-tone effect in the finished cake.
Your first cake's in, Marion?
The first batch looked really runny, so I just ditched it because I didn't like the look of it.
I've stuffed up my very first batch of cake, and I think that's a good thing because now I'm really concentrating on exactly what's on that recipe because I don't have enough time to stuff up another batch of cake.
Lamington versus Lamington, scone versus scone. You have an hour and a half to go. Don't forget, you're going head to head, red versus blue.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're not scones. They're bread rolls. They're bread rolls.
The first batch is so abysmal that the only place for them is the garbage receptacle.
Maybe just be really careful about not overworking them. They look like they're...
I think that's my problem.
This is no surprise for me. I knew from the moment this challenge started that I was going to be in trouble. I'm quite heavy-handed when it comes to, you know, working with doughs. I've got to just keep on trying.
My second batch of scones are due to come out of the oven. I go and check them and they look the same as the first batch. They're not rising properly.
I thought they actually go together like that.
Do you think that helps them rise up?
I don't know. That's how I've seen them.
Let's do a tray. Marion suggested that I put them closer together on the tray. I'm going to give that a go. I can't keep doing the same mistake over and over. It's just stupid. I want to get good scones out, not 200 crappy things, so...
Courtney, first cake's in.
Sweet.
I've actually got all the ingredients prepped for all 6
you've done all
cakes.
the hard work. Yeah, that's sweet.
So I've actually just got to now put them together.
Yep.
I'm doing the fruit cake. No one here should underestimate how hard this challenge is going to be. It's not just a simple bake-off. This is making cakes and scones and jam to perfection and to the Country Women's Association standards.
Claire, how you going?
Yeah, I'm going okay, thanks, George.
Yeah, following everything to a T?
I am following everything to a T, but it's all taking longer than I had hoped.
Fruitcake is the sort of food that I grew up learning to cook with my grandma, so this should be in my strike zone.
You seem very excited today.
I am, I'm happy.
Yeah?
It's nice to feel like I'm not completely out of my comfort zone for once.
How long's it got to go on the stove for?
You have to reduce it, so I think it'll take about a good 40 minutes.
Okay.
I'm making the fig and apple jam. The figs and the apples go into a pot and it's mixed with 4 litres of water. It's just a matter of reducing it to a thick jam-like consistency, and that's the process that takes time.
The fig jam is probably the simplest of the dishes today that we have to cook, but I've got to get it reduced.
I am really worried this jam won't be ready.
That one's a little bit slow, but yeah, look, I've got to get onto it now.
If the jam doesn't reduce, the jam will end up being runny.
Red team, blue team, you're halfway. You've got an hour and 15 minutes to go.
We're halfway through, guys. Don't panic. We still want to get good stuff out, but we've got to move.
Aaron, you got a scone I can taste?
Absolutely, George. I'll bring one over to you. Actually, I'll bring a whole pile over.
How you going with it all?
Oh, I'm doing my best.
So they say you should crack them open?
Yeah.
Smells good.
I'm on my 5th batch of scones. I haven't nailed it, but you know what? They're getting better each time.
What do you reckon?
A little bit chewy.
A little bit chewy.
Damn it.
They're servable, but they're not up to the CWA standard, and that's what I'm really trying to get.
What do you think is 4 centimetres clear about there?
Sorry?
4 centimetres?
A little bit less. Yeah, that's good.
This is the first batch of lamingtons, and at this point they look like lamingtons. Still a long way to go and not very long to do it.
How's it going? I know I'm not quite getting the height on it that I was hoping.
This is the back shear?
Yeah, that was the first one.
It's like a biscuit.
Yeah, I know. In a bit of trouble, I think. These lamingtons are ideally supposed to be a 4 by 4 centimetres square. Look, mine aren't that high, which is an issue, because one of the criteria is how well you cut them, how evenly sized they are, and that sort of thing.
We are extremely concerned. It comes down to these last 45 minutes. Cake should be out of the oven, cooling down, ready to be finished.
I'm just worried about whether or not they're cooked, so I'm just going to pop this one back in. My first 2 Neapolitan cakes have come out a very poo brown colour, which is not good for my cakes. It looks to be browning a lot on the top, but not cooked all the way through. And now I'm really worried about the other 4 cakes that are in the oven because they're browning really quickly. And if I've got 6 burnt cakes, that could possibly put my whole team into elimination.
"20 minutes to go before the 100 CWA ladies arrive, and I'm looking around and we're far from plating up these dishes.
Wow, I never thought you'd be in such a world of hurt. We're going to give you an extra 15 minutes because we need to save face. You've now got 35 minutes. Use your time wisely.
This extra 15 minutes is really important. We're lucky to get it. We're still going to be pushing it even with that time. It's just a matter now of getting some processes in line so we can actually get some dishes up.
Turning out 100 lamingtons for these ladies is not an easy task.
Dip 2 or 3 at the same time. Sure. Like this, and then I would...
I see.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe something like, so you're working a bit more methodically.
Thank you, Gary.
I'm really trying to rush these lamingtons. They're not coming out quite as nicely as I would have hoped. I'm just trying to get as many done in the last few minutes as I possibly can so I can get something out on those tables.
With 5 minutes to go, there's still a bit of a concern. No food is on the table yet. It needs to be on the table. That's the only way they're going to be able to taste it.
Courtney,
Yeah?
I'll let you know one of my cakes is raw as. I cut into my first fruit cake and it's a disaster. It is completely raw in the centre.
Come on, just cut.
With only a few minutes to go, the only thing I can think to do is cut out the centres and hopefully just cut little slices off the end and get those onto the table.
This is the biggest disaster of a team challenge I've ever been in. Everywhere I look on my team, everyone's having issues. Jonathan's cakes aren't cooking, Callum can't make his lamingtons, my cakes are burnt. This is the worst team challenge I've ever done.
I don't think I've cooked one good cake today. Like, it's been a disaster. It's been, you know, a disaster of comical proportions. It really has. I look across and Pete's got this cake with this great kind of cavernous hole in the middle of it. Scones aren't really working, the jam's not setting, and I don't think we're going to have enough lamingtons. It's just a train wreck.
That's it, guys. Down to the wire. You've got 10 seconds to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. That's it.
You'd never think, you know, a swarm of 100 country women would be so intimidating, but it certainly was, and I think it's because we knew our food just was not up to scratch.
And you know that all these ladies, every single one of them will know what to look for when it comes to baked goods.
Oh, God, it's so painful. You can't do anything but laugh.
The lamingtons were a little bit dry.
I've got a red scone. This is better than the blue one.
We might not have served the highest quality food, but we got it all out there. What I'm really hoping now is someone doesn't break a tooth on those rock-hard scones.
When I went to bite it, I couldn't put my teeth through it.
Watching the CWA ladies eat the food, I just want to stop them from doing it.
They look happy.
No. There's no way
Don't look overly happy.
Well, some of them are laughing.
You're laughing at how bad the food is.
Unless you know the oven that you're cooking in. Baking really isn't as easy as it looks.
The CWA ladies have finished their afternoon tea, which means it's time for the judges and Alison Mutton from the CWA to judge our dishes.
Alison, how do you think they've gone?
There's been a few disasters there today. I think they found it a lot harder than what they expected to.
Now comes the moment of truth. I think we need to see the scones the red team and the blue team have made and see how they compare.
As we're walking up to the judging, you know, you have a little glance at the competitor's plate, and Courtney's scones look perfect. They look absolutely perfect. Mine just look like, you know, little rocks with flour on top. I mean, yeah, this is a no-brainer.
George, would you like to do the honours?
Love to.
There is some added pressure today with the judging. It's not only Matt, Gary and George, but Alison Mutton, and she's had 14 years' experience of judging scones for the CWA, so I'm a little worried.
Well, guys, let's taste the blue scone first.
It's chewy. It did not break easily. Unfortunately, I'm hard-pressed to find something good to say about it.
You can see, look at the colour on the bottom. It's crisp, it's overworked. It's wrong, man.
Yeah. Everything that the judges say is totally and utterly, you know, it's valid. I understand it. It's an embarrassment putting up a dish like that.
Gary, any positives on that blue scone? Well, the blue one, I'm not going to say anything. It's like a lump of lead. Horrible. The red one, it's better. You know, it's got a more even rise.
What I like about the red team scone is I actually like the colour. I like the rise. I think it's got a good flavour.
It is a better scone, but not quite as buttery as what I like a scone to be, but not a bad scone.
Though this is a team challenge, our dishes are getting judged individually, head to head.
Aaron, Courtney, thank you very much indeed. You can leave us.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm fairly certain I've beat Aaron in the scones. I'm not certain that I'm out of elimination if my team does lose.
I think it's now time to get the fruitcake in and try that.
So Jono and I kind of rather sheepishly approached the tasting table. We have to laugh or we'd cry. It's certainly not our finest hour.
Alison, what do you think of these two cakes?
Well, the red team's cake has sunk in the middle. The blue team's cake is a little bit low, but is presenting better than the red team's cake at the moment. So when we judge, we always cut straight through the middle of the cake. Blue team, not too bad, yeah, but definitely burnt on the bottom.
Their cake's burnt on the bottom, which is, you know, I don't think they're going to be struggling to find things that are wrong with the cake, but, you know, that's obviously going to be number one.
I'm a little nervous. I'm almost certain the cake's going to be raw in the middle.
The red team's definitely not cooked in the middle.
I'm not really happy about serving raw food to the judges. I really don't want to send my team into an elimination. It's not a good feeling. I mean, you wouldn't serve a raw cake at a dinner party, so you certainly wouldn't serve for judging, would you?
Well, guys, let's taste the red cake first.
Obviously, the red team one was undercooked. It does have quite a good flavour.
I have to agree totally. It tastes really good, Jonathan, but unfortunately, just not cooked through properly. And
It's a little challenging reconciling being in the top 10 and serving a raw cake. But some days, you know, you have good days, and clearly today's one of my bad days.
Right, guys, I think we should taste the blue fruit cake. Burnt bottoms, yeah. You know, it's bitter and really not nice in flavour.
Just goes to show how hard baking a good and simple cake is. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I think if the judges were choosing between me and Jono, even though Jono's cake's raw in the middle, his would be the winner.
Well, a shaky start from both teams. Let's get the next head-to-head tasting underway. Let's see if these are Lamingtons or Leamingtons.
So it's my turn to face the judges. It's pretty embarrassing to, you know, see how good-looking Adam's are and how bad mine look, but hopefully they taste okay.
Now, Alison, I understand that the CWA criteria for Lamingtons is 4 centimetres by 4 centimetres by 4 centimetres. The moment of truth, I think you need to measure those Lamingtons and see whether they are up to code.
Got the trusty tape measure. The blue team's Lamingtons are quite a good size. Unfortunately, the red teams, they are all a different size. They are supposed to be evenly sized.
Starting with the red first.
They're moist. I really like it, but I know it's probably not acceptable.
Well, guys, let's taste the blue Lamingtons. Adam, perfectly iced, fine coconut. Cake's a little dry, but the shape and the presentation is really good. Well done.
The comments on my Lamingtons have been pretty positive.
Gentlemen, good effort.
I'd like to think I was safe, but I mean, I'm not judging this show. If I was judging this show, I'd be wearing a cravat.
So we've tasted 3 dishes.
Well, it's time to taste the Neapolitan cake.
I'm head-to-head with Marion. Of course, Marion. Luckily, Marion is as disappointed with her cake as I am with mine. To be honest, I'm really not looking forward to this judging.
We'll start with the blue team's cake, I think. Your icing's run down the side of the cake. That's really not acceptable. There appears to be a lot more pink than there is of the white. You need even layers across.
Oh.
So we'll see if the red team is as nice as it looks. Red team, the layers are much more even. Crusty on the outside though.
All right, we'll plate up. Shall we taste the blue cake first?
Not the best look. And to be honest, I find it a little bit dry.
Alison's had 14 years judging these dishes. She looks unbelievably underwhelmed.
Crusty, but the flavour of the cake is quite nice.
Thank you.
Right, guys, I think we should taste the red team's Neapolitan cake.
I'm usually pretty happy with the dishes that I'm putting up for the judges. And now I'm looking down at my cake and I'm just thinking, what a disaster.
Appearance-wise, it looked quite good, but I'm quite disappointed with the actual cake itself.
It's a tough challenge. It's made doubly hard because you're doing it in a field with ovens you don't know. And ask any country cook about baking, there's a relationship between them and their oven. They know where the hot spots are. So to bake in the conditions you've been baking in is incredibly hard. So I'm impressed you've got anything up at all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, time for the final head-to-head tasting. Blue team's jam versus the red team's jam.
Just looking at Jimmy's jam and my jam, it looks the same. You know, they're both served in a ramekin. They both have, you know, same colouring. This should be interesting.
George, would you like to serve up the jams? The first thing I noticed with these two jams is that Jimmy's, yours is weeping, that the liquid is not incorporated with the fruit, which isn't a good sign. Let's taste the red team's jam. In terms of flavour, Alvin, yours has a really good fig flavour.
The red team's does have a very good flavour. It's a nice consistency. You've also cut your fruit nice and fine. When you're spreading jam, you don't want chunks.
I get good feedback from the judges, and I think more importantly, Alison's impressed with the jam. So I'm feeling a bit more confident.
Let's taste the blue team's jam.
The blue team's, yours is a little bit chunky, and again, your syrup is separating from your fruit.
Just goes to show, same ingredients, two completely different results. Well done, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.
My dish is a clear loser when it goes head-to-head with Alvin's jam. I mean, it's my second chance in this competition, and there's a good chance that I've actually blown it.
Alison, thank you so much for helping us judge. We'll let the contestants know tomorrow which team has won.
I've come into this debrief today ready for a bollocking. I know we've done a pretty awful job with the food, so I'm bracing myself.
Welcome back to the MasterChef kitchen. Yesterday was a massive day. It's probably the first day that we've seen you truly at odds with the challenge. Frazzled, confused, deer in the headlights. On a professional level, it's close to a disaster.
The judges were absolutely embarrassed about what we produced for the ladies of the CWA. To hear it, even though we knew it, is a real kick in the guts.
These dishes are all part of our Australian national identity. Simple they may be, but now you know how hard they are to get right.
I thought yesterday's challenge was going to be difficult, but not as hard as it turned out to be. I think I've got a whole new appreciation for the CWA ladies.
This was a head-to-head tasting. Scone versus scone, fruitcake versus fruitcake, and the winning team is the one that outcooked their opponents on the most dishes. The reward for the winning team, lunch at 3 Hat Bilsons. Tony's opening the restaurant just for the team that wins today.
Bilsons is somewhere that I've wanted to go to for such a long time. Bilsons is the restaurant to eat at.
There'll be no smiles on the losing team. The worst two performers from the losing team will face off in a high-pressure elimination later today.
For one of you, this is the last day you'll spend in the MasterChef kitchen.
In this challenge, I think it's really hard to pick who's going home.
We often talk about how difficult the decision is when we come to judging. That's normally because you've all done such a good job. We're arguing over which is the best dish. Today is different. Today we're really looking at two teams that have underperformed and who's actually done the worst. This was a head-to-head tasting, so let's compare how those dishes went. Courtney, your performance with the scones started out poor.
I'm not happy with them, so I'm going to have to change something.
But you actually got amongst it and you started to understand the scones would rise better if they were clumped together, and that's good to see you come through initial problems and deliver what were in the end were pretty passable scones. Aaron, a scone should be lightly risen, it should be slightly flaky, it should be moist, it shouldn't be a little hard wooden ball. Not good.
I did try, and I tried, but I didn't get it right.
When it came to the scones, red team won.
We're in, the top 10 of the competition. You've got to serve food that's worthy of being in the MasterChef competition every time you cook.
Adam, your lamingtons were a little dry, but in terms of the icing, the shape and size, those lamingtons were right on CWA specifications.
Callum, the lamingtons were the wrong size. They were all over the shop.
They are supposed to be evenly sized.
When it came to lamingtons, blue team won. Well done.
I'm a little embarrassed because I know they weren't the best lamingtons in the world, but I guess the best of a bad bunch is something.
When it came to the cakes, you're very lucky. The 100 CWA ladies were so lovely because I think they valued those recipes and they understood that, different kitchen, different ovens, all those variables make it hard.
Jonathan, the fruitcakes presented problems because, yourself, they were so raw.
Definitely not cooked in the middle.
Claire, you struggled, and it showed in the end result. It really did.
Burnt bottoms, it's bitter and really not nice in flavour.
So, we did what the CWA sometimes does when there isn't a good enough cake to be judged a winner. Neither side won the fruitcake.
I think in terms of their overall critique of my performance, they're spot on. We all need to spend some time baking.
And the 2 Neapolitan cakes, they weren't good. Peter was just, it was a disaster.
You need even layers across.
Gary pointed out my cake was a disaster. Not unexpected. I knew it. He knew it. And the 100 ladies probably knew it.
Marion, dry Neapolitan cake. You know, let's be honest, it wasn't that great when we tasted it.
I'm quite disappointed with the actual cake itself.
Neither of those cakes was good enough to actually be a winner. So, neither side won either the Neapolitan cake nor the boiled fruit cake.
I feel embarrassed about my performance, about my team's performance. I don't think anyone did a standout job yesterday.
So that meant it came down to the jam.
Alvin, you did a good job with the jam.
The red team's does have a very good flavour. It's a nice consistency.
Nice flavour, nice and shiny. Excellent.
I'm glad I cooked a good jam, especially by the CWA standards. Yay me.
Jimmy, your jam had some real issues with it.
Jimmy's, yours is weeping. The liquid is not incorporated with the fruit, which isn't a good sign. So, red won the jam challenge in the head-to-head, and therefore won the challenge overall. Welcome back.
So, thank God for Alvin and thank God for his jam.
Right, red team, time to go and enjoy that beautiful lunch at Tony Bilson's. Off you go.
Good luck. God, my God, the best of the worst. The winners of the losers. Ah!
We've let ourselves down a little bit. I've let my team down, and then that thing that's always hovering there, that someone is going home.
It's never good being on a losing team, but today it puts 2 of you in terrible danger. The worst 2 performers will go into an elimination round, and where, in a few short hours, one of them will leave the MasterChef competition. Game over. Claire, Adam, you're safe. Adam, your lamington was really the only commendable dish put up by the blue team. That saved you. Claire, neither fruitcake was good. Yours at least looked like a cake. 3 people left. 2 of you will go into today's elimination round.
I'm dreading who's going to end up in the elimination challenge, and to be honest, I think it's going to be a case of the captain going down with his sinking cake.
Peter, you're safe, just. Aaron and Jimmy, your 2 dishes were deemed the least impressive. You'll face an elimination round later today. The rest of you can go upstairs.
To come this far and to go now, I mean, it's heartbreaking. Because I really think I've got something to offer the food industry, and I think I've got something to offer that the people will like.
Thanks a lot. I just got back into this contest. If I go home, there's no way in the world I'm getting a 3rd chance.
Tomorrow night on MasterChef Australia.
And your job today is to fix that dish.
Jimmy and Aaron face elimination in the fight of their lives.
This is definitely my last chance in this competition. I've got to win this challenge.
To survive, they must rely on their skill and culinary knowledge.
So think French ingredients.
What am I going to do? Make it up?
And in 8 quick steps, turn a disaster into a masterpiece.
No idea what's going on here at all.
For the least impressive, the MasterChef journey will end.
Whatever you do dictates your future here in the MasterChef kitchen.
I'm not feeling confident at all.